After grad school, when I first met Sarah, I was immediately head over heels in love with her. But we came from very different backgrounds. She came from a wealthy family in Connecticut. I came from a blue-collar family in Kokomo, Indiana. Hey, Kokomo. They were the Drysdales. We were the Clampetts. They were pâté foie gras. We were chopped liver. We didn't have much in common, but what we did have in common was that we both loved dogs. Growing up, dogs were members of our family. When I was a kid, we adopted a little mutt from a local animal shelter, and Sarah had a dog follow her back to camp on a New Mexico archaeological dig. Even her dog rescues were cooler than mine. So we didn't have a lot in common, but I could make her laugh. And that seemed to be enough. And when I asked her to marry me, she didn't laugh. But she did say yes. And we bought our first house on the far end of Fairfax County that the real estate agent convinced us that we could afford, as long as we didn't waste money on luxuries like entertainment or furniture or food. We both work hard at our jobs and come home to our big empty house with our milk crate bookcases, our Pier 1 beanbag chairs, and our IKEA futon. But still, it was our house. The one thing that was missing to make it a home was a dog. We both work really hard at our jobs, and we'd come home every day on the weekend, and I'd try to rest up, and Sarah would go out to the animal shelters cruising, looking for lonely faces. She'd come back in with all these pictures and lay them out on the table. It looked like a canine mugshot lineup. I expected to have a caption that said, "Have you seen this dog?" Every week, I'd commute to my job in Pentagon City and commute back and work about 50 hours a week and was just exhausted. So I'd rest up on the weekend, and Sarah would go out and look for more dogs. About a week in the late December, Sarah came home with just one picture. She laid it out on the table, and I said, "Who's this?" "This is Scout." "Scout? Okay. Scout who?" "You know, Scout, like the little girl in To Kill a Mockingbird." "You named a shelter dog?" I get it. I know you want to get a dog. I've just been slammed at work, and I've got some time coming off after the first of the year. We'll go out to the shelter and look together. The week before Christmas, I was just slammed at work. And on Friday, the day before the company Christmas party, I came in, and the boss called me into the office. I thought, maybe we're getting a Christmas bonus. I walked in, he motioned me to sit down. I looked across the room, and there was a rep from HR. He said, "We're going to have to let you go." I sat there stunned, trying to figure out what happened. And I drove the hour and a half back to our house, wondering, what was I going to tell Sarah? And how were we going to be able to afford that house? I pulled up in the driveway, walked in the door, stood there in the entryway for a minute, and Sarah called out, "Hey, do you want to go see Scout?" And when I didn't say anything, she poked her head around the corner and said, "What's wrong?" I got fired. Sarah didn't say anything. In fact, she didn't mention dogs at all that weekend. The next day, we sat down, tried to come up with a plan, and agreed that we'd spend no more than $20 on each other for Christmas. And after the first of the year, I'd bust my butt trying to find a new job. Christmas morning, we got up, fixed breakfast. Sarah put some Christmas music on her boombox. We sat there in our big empty house with our dorm room furniture and our little Charlie Brown Christmas tree. And Sarah handed me a little box, and I opened it up, and inside was a little book. How the Grinch Stole Christmas. I said, "Maybe you should have given this to my boss." Sarah laughed, and I gave her a hug, and I thanked her. And inside, I was glad that she didn't spend the whole $20. I reached under the tree and handed Sarah a box. She said, "What is it?" Just open it. She opened up the box, and inside was a leash and a collar and a picture of Scout. I thought we agreed to spend the leash and the collar were $19.95. But what about the adoption fee? We don't have to pay that until after we pick up the dog. So technically, I came in under the $20 limit. And besides, yesterday I got a call from a recruiter. They want to see me on the 27th. And if that doesn't work out, the shelter gave us a big bag of dog food. So if we get desperate, Sarah threw her arms around me, hugged me so tight I thought my head was going to pop off. And in that moment, I knew we were going to be okay. The next day, we went to the Arlington County Animal Shelter, went in the door, and Scout recognized Sarah immediately. And when we went out to the car, I opened the door. Scout jumped in the back seat, just like she was already a member of our family, which she was for the next 11 years. Since then, there have been bigger gifts and fancier gifts. But way back when we first got married, it had almost nothing to our names and thought we'd lost everything. Sarah still had faith in me. I was able to give her hope. And Scout gave our family love that came wrapped in its own fur coat. Thank you.